All right, everybody. There was a deadlock patch approximately 10 minutes ago. Friday, May 20. Wait, why does this say May 28th? It's the 22nd. This is false. Hopefully, it's not 6 days away. Hopefully, it's actually in the game, all these changes. But yeah, we're going to be going over the patch that came out today. I'm assuming most of it's balance stuff, but I kind of like breezed through it. Not like I didn't read anything, but I just scrolled through it, I guess is a better word to say. And it seems pretty long. So there might be quite a lot. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over it, go over the patch, and see if anything interesting is in here. Hopefully there is. I think there probably will be. So let's begin. General base HP reduced by 10 for all heroes. HP per boon reduced by 3. Okay, so just like a pretty like game wide HP reduction. There should be a decent amount of HP lowered now. I think it's like mixed kind of opinions about HP and stuff right now. Some people think a lot of characters have too much HP and it takes way too long to go through people, and then you'll see other people saying there's way too much damage, but I personally think there was a bit too much HP on characters. And I think it may, right, like after this change, it may not be completely balanced because people might get like killed a lot faster. But I think it's healthier for the game if people have a little bit less HP, and you know, carries and stuff like there aren't like wardens walking around with 6k HP while also being able to kill everybody on the map. So stuff like that. I think it's just healthier to start from here and then go from there for the game. So you can actually punish carries, and it doesn't take like 1 million cycles of abilities and gun to kill people. Anyway, moving on. Guardian scaling resistance from 75% to 50% over 12 minutes to 50% to 50%. Takes more damage early. Yeah, so a bit more punishable early, and I think this is coinciding with a couple changes here where the medium neutrals are their spawn time is reduced from 6 minutes to 5 minutes. So, you know, those tier 2 camps, instead of spawning at 6 minutes, they'll be at 5 minutes. And the breakables now spawn at 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes. So I think all these changes go hand in hand. I think this is trying to encourage more lane play in like punishing lane opponents for poking them out and stuff. Because right now you could just pop a healing right, extra regen, and run around and do boxes if you ever get poked out. And you kind of can't really get punished for it. In fact, if you do that and your lane opponent solo clears the wave, and the person doing the boxes, gets some boxes, they only need like 2 or 3. It's already more efficient than just sitting there and 2v2ing in the lane. So I think this means like you can poke out the tower more early. And also, you actually have to stay in the lane for 3 minutes instead of 2. I think it's actually a pretty big change. It's going to change the laning phase quite a lot, especially when it comes to competitive. Because, like I said, that sort of strat where you just send one person to do boxes and one person stays and solos a wave. Like, literally every team does that in every lane, basically. So they're going to have to change it up a bit. And might be a little bit more interesting lane going on. Maybe more kill potential because of that. Definitely more kill potential because of that. So shrines are now invulnerable until 1 pair of base guardians are destroyed. Okay, so before, this has been a thing for a while, and I'm not surprised if they finally changed it. You could just backdoor everything in this game, so even the shrines. So people would just run through the Guardians, maybe take a little bit of damage from it, but then they'll just start backdooring the shrines, and now you can't do that. So this is a good change. I think this is a lot healthier. Hopefully this is coincided with some Victor changes where you can't just wall break everywhere. Backdoor removal linger duration reduced from 20 seconds to 14 seconds. Okay. So a lot of times, like, you would be pushing something and the minions weren't there for a while, but you'd still have those backdoor protections removed, and you can like kind of just like one shot anyway. So now it's not going to last as long. So it's going to be a little bit harder to take walkers if you don't actually have the wave there, which encourages more actual macro like organization and like staying on top of it. So that's good. Knockup durations are now affected by debuff reduction. This is interesting. Funny enough, this actually was a change they made in Smite recently, but I think at least. This is kind of interesting. I mean, what knockups are like really, I'm trying to think, that are like so broken that you would actually build specifically debuff reduction just to counter. I mean, of course, debuff reduction is going to be good no matter what against like every character in the game, basically, but yeah, I mean like, I'm trying to think, like, Viscous 3 or like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. I just can't think in the moment like what knockups I really care about that much. But anyway, remove 2 jump pads from around the middle of the map that point to outwards, to the left and right respectively. Okay, this is a little confusing. Hopefully, maybe an accompanying picture would have been nice. The middle of the map that point to outwards. Point to outwards. Is it talking about the ones to the bridges? If it's talking about the ones to the bridges, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's what it is. I feel like they would have specified that if that's what that meant, but we'll have to figure that one out as well. Yeah, I think maybe it is to the bridge path or the bridge buff, so that changes a lot as well, because that's everybody goes straight to those at 5 minutes, and you play around shooting people to stun them off so they can't get to the bridge. If those aren't there at all, it's going to require, like, incentivize a bit more movement. Like players that have really good movement can get there in more efficient and easier ways without you know, getting slowed down and stuff like that. So encourages a bit more movement on the map, I think. Sliding no longer resets sprint speed. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. So you don't get punished. Like you can slide through boxes now. Because before, if you were running at a top speed, I actually learned this. Somebody commented on one of my recent YouTube videos. Or not recent. This was maybe a bit ago. But they were talking about how it's actually bad to try and slide through the boxes if you already reach your max sprint speed. Because then you lose your sprint speed. But that is no longer the case. So no longer getting punished for sliding, which is nice. Oh, sorry. Stamina regeneration is reduced by 25% for 5 seconds after using a wall jump. This does not trigger when out of combat or when mantling soon after. Wait a second. So, okay, so... Oh, I see. Okay, so in combat movement is trying to be... They're trying to be a little bit more punishing with that because it does not trigger when out of combat or when mantling soon after. So this is basically trying to say, like, if you're in combat and using a lot of wall jumps to, like, avoid and get away, it's just going to be a little bit more punishing because your regeneration is going to be reduced by a little bit. But if you're just using it for movement to get around the map without actually being in combat, then it won't affect it. So I think that's good. I think like they need to find the balance between movement being really cool and a skill cap and everything, but being a little too much of people just playing on top of the skybox and running away nonstop and that kind of thing. Because a lot of the characters I meta right now are just really good at that. So, and people are just getting better and better at movement. And so the problem could potentially only get worse. Bullet velocity now stacks additively rather than diminishingly. Interesting. I don't know if this is that big of a deal, but it's definitely interesting. I guess you could get to basically hit scan, right? Because technically there's no hit scan characters in the game. But I guess maybe you can get at least towards that point where you're constantly having to the point you're actually at hit scan. Although you can't technically get there. I guess maybe you technically can. Anyway, infinite series and stuff like that. Medic trooper heal duration increased from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. Same overall heal amount. Okay, so this is maybe like if you're actually in combat and you get the heal, you don't just instantly top off. Like it's going to take a little bit more. So if you're getting hit or trying to kill somebody that's getting the heal, it's going to be a little bit easier because they're not just instantly going to get a huge burst heal. When receiving multiple of the medic trooper orb, the duration will now be added on top rather than attacking directly. So picking up 4 in a row will give the regen over 16 seconds instead of over 4 seconds. Overall heal is the same, just slower. Okay, same thing. This is very interesting because if you had like a huge wave in front of you and you killed it while you were fighting somebody, you'd get a huge burst heal. So now it's just going to stack up and it's going to give it to you over time instead of instantly. So again, more kill potential there if you're fighting in a big wave with heals. And the medic trooper heal increased from 12% missing HP to 13%. Okay, so just 1%. I mean, okay, cool. I guess maybe to buff it a little bit given the changes to it. Fixed parry effects not always matching state. This is good. I think a lot of times you'll see like it looks like somebody's parry is gone and then you'll light melee and you'll still get parried. So hopefully that's what it's addressing. Base guardian bullet resistance increased from 10 to 20%. Shrine bullet resistance increased from 10 to 20%. Tier 2 bullet resistance increased from 25 to 35%. Okay, so making all the base structures and everything a little bit tankier because they're a little bit too easy to kill. It's respectable, making them a little bit more useful. Mid-boss now starts spawned at the beginning of the game. Wait, that's kind of crazy. I mean, there's not really any scenarios where you would ever be able to like do this, but maybe, I don't know, maybe there could be some like accompanying changes to characters and stuff. Maybe characters like McGinnis who could like set up there and like, I don't know, like maybe you could make like a Hail Mary play to just all in it off of like a couple kills or something. I don't know. That's kind of interesting though. Total damage reduction, and I guess people that try to go down there to avoid a skirmish or trying to run away, they'll now get hit by the mid boss, which could kill them. So that's another implication, I guess. Total damage reduction debuffs now stack diminishingly rather than additively. Inhibitor, fire scarabs, etc. Okay, that's good because like a mirage with fire scarabs and inhibitor, exactly. Like you would be doing so much less damage. So they're going to stack diminishingly. They're not going to add up to whatever it was, like what, 50, 60%. Move speed diminish point increased from 11 to 12. Very slightly aggressive, diminishing scaling. Less aggressive, that is. Yeah, okay. So just not going to get punished as hard for building as much movement speed. Weapon investment bonus now has a 6.4k line, changed from 4.8k to 7.2k, 9.6, 16k to 4.8, 6.4, 8k. Okay. Interesting. So it's going to be a little bit cheaper to get the second bonus on everything, actually. This is for weapon, vitality, spirit. So they're adjusting the investment bonuses a bit. Getting it earlier, which is kind of coinciding with that recent change where they made it easier to get your abilities maxed at like 41k instead of 50k now. So both of these are speeding up the pace of the game a little bit. And I think this mostly benefits, gun characters because this is the investment bonuses for gun characters is constantly scaling because it's literally just percent weapon damage as opposed to flat power or flat. Well, I guess vitality is also percent health, but yeah, I think that benefits the gun characters the most. Fix various item barrier durations, not scaling with duration increases. Okay. Walkers will interrupt a rocket barrage during the 1 second windup if stop becomes an option. Okay. Fix a bug where walkers were spinning while lasering. I've seen that happen. That's pretty funny. Smooth zipline grabbing to fix some jitter. Okay. Good. Added ropes to zipline building. So if a player rebinds zipline to something other than space, it will also apply to mounting, dismounting ropes. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So like, so you wanted to like, because a lot of times if you were trying to just jump and you accidentally grab the zip line, you would get like hyperlined. So now that will actually apply to the climbing ropes as well if you want it to be a different keybind. Remove delay on zip lines when using alternative keybinds. Okay, some bug fixes there and stuff. Fix the falling abilities taking you out of zoom temporarily when cast. So just a bunch of abilities take you out of zoom. I'm not going to list them all. You guys can read that if you want. Fix the following items and abilities not working through veils. Heroic Aura, Healing Right, Healing Nova, Rescue Beam, Divine Barrier, Kudzu Connection, Cube, Tag Along Little Helper. Okay, so just a bunch of abilities you can actually use through the veil now. That's pretty cool. I like that. Is it? I guess if you're a teammate, like you can see them through the veil, so you should be able to regardless. But even stuff like Heroic Aura and stuff that has just like an aura around you should go through the veil and hit them on the other side if they're close enough. So, okay. Soul Urn. We are experimenting with an alternate set of urn mechanics. Okay, please give us your thoughts on this after you've played with this. Interesting. Okay, this is spicy. Let's see. Primary rules. To pick up the urn, rather than standing in place to channel, you now light or heavy melee the urn to pick it up. Ooh. The urn is now always dropped off on top of the bridge on the middle of the map. Oh my god, they're going back. They did this like a long time ago. I remember when I was actually playing like the first, when it came out. They did an experiment where they had it drop off in the middle. And I think a lot of people hated it. Once dropped off, the urn will go into a depositing phase for a set amount of time, depending on which team the urn favors. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds for favored, neutral, unfavored, okay? While in the depositing phase, the enemy team can heavy melee the urn to have their team claim it and cause it to switch sides. This adds 1.25 seconds to that team's timer. Oh my god, so you're like, it's like a battle of like King of the Hill punching it. If the urn is favored or unfavored in a comeback state, then the favored team will get 50% bullet and spirit resist in a 60-meter radius around the urn while it is being carried, dropped, or deposited. What? Interesting. So it's incentivizing a fight more in the middle of the map, but you're getting some bonuses from being the unfavored team. Oh wait, the favorite team will actually get more. Okay, so the favorite team is actually getting the resistance, I think. I guess because it's supposed to be in the middle of the map and it's like supposed to be like a little bit more dangerous or something. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly what this will do. But I remember this being like a thing that a lot of people hated. But it is a bit different because now you can actually like, I guess like seesaw for like control of that part of the map and can go like back and forth, incentivizing like fighting a little bit more as well. This is in the middle of the map. That would be cool though. I'm down to try this. This sounds pretty fun. We'll definitely have to see. Those are definitely big changes though. Urn is the only objective on the map, so might as well be. Other details. After 35 seconds, aggregate time held per team, the carrier will start taking 5% max HP damage per second. Previously it was 45 seconds, so it's a little bit sooner now, and it's a lot more damage. Urn damage is lethal, so it can kill you. Like before, when the urn is fumbled, it will wait 13 seconds for the player within 25 meters. However, afterwards, the new version, it can no longer be picked up anymore. It will very quickly run back to its spawn. Oh, very quickly. Makes it sound like it's going to fly away, so probably can't like run after it and continue picking it up. No longer silences you while carrying. You are still disarmed and movement silence. Interesting. So you can use abilities? Certain abilities you'll be able to use? Like you could probably do like a Viscous. You can Viscous 3 because that's not a movement ability technically. So you could like Viscous Cube all the way to the turn-in. No longer grants 30% bullet and spirit resist while carrying it. Okay. Area around depositing the urn is revealed. Urn runner is also revealed as usual. Okay, so everybody that's in that area, it's going to show them. The rules for favored, unfavored remain the same. 15% soul difference for the first urn at 10 minutes, and then plus 10% for all future urns. Okay. Souls are all instant after the deposit is complete. Okay. So you can't like deny them after the, all those souls that would come out before 50 or 40% of like the reward. You could shoot and deny if you were the team that did not get the urn, but now it's just all complete right as you deposit it. Or right as it completes, because you deposit it, and then it takes time to actually finish now. And you can contest it by heavy mailing it. All rewards are the same. The last person to contest the urn gets the +3 golden idol buffs, falling back to the original carrier if nobody contested it. Okay. Wow, those are some big changes. We're only like a quarter of the way through, not even maybe. Jesus. Okay, bunch of item changes. Add a new tier 1 vitality item. Grit. Active grants you 200 barrier for 4 seconds. Innate grants 1 out of combat regen. Cooldown 60 seconds. Upgrades to weapon shielding, spirit shielding. Okay, so this is just a tier 1 green shield item. That kind of sounds annoying in lane. You're fighting and you just burst 200 heal. That seems like it might be pretty good. And it's going to build into the shielding items as well, which are not the greatest at the current moment. Okay, a bunch of gun changes. Or, yeah, these are just gun changes. Resto, healing increased by 5. Okay, not sure if necessary, but melee charge cooldown reduced from 7 to 5. That's cool. I like that. Active reload lifesteal increased from 14 to 16%. Didn't they just nerf the lifesteal on this? That's funny. Weakening headshot now works versus NPCs. Ooh, that's interesting for farming. Like a monster rounds plus weakening headshot, you're going to one-shot the entire map. Fleet Foot now grants 6% weapon damage. Okay. Oh, that's really good, honestly. I love Fleet Foot as an item. Now it's got 6% weapon damage. Active slow resistance increased from 35 to 40%. Okay. Fleet Foot seems really good. Opening round spirit power reduced from 7 to 4. Slowing bullets dash distance slowed from 25 to 22%. A couple nerfs to the meta gun items, and then a couple buffs to the some that aren't meta. Maybe we'll just replace these meta items. Although I think slowing bullets is still going to be really good. Mystic Shot, spirit scaling increased from 1 to 1.2. Okay. This is a tier 2 gun item that scales really well into the late game as well if you're going a spirit character, so it's only going to get better. Like I see like Mystic Shots proc spirit burn all the time on characters like Mina and such, so it's funny that it's even more now. The fact that one bullet could proc your spirit burn because of Mystic Shot. Recharging Rush cooldown increase from 24 to 25. Okay, that seems not that important. Bless you. Proc cooldown on Tesla bullets reduced from 0.25 to 0.2. Okay. Damage per spirit scaling increased from 0.152 to 0.2 on Alkfire. Okay, buff to Alkfire as well. Kind of more of a niche item, but maybe it's just better on the characters you'd buy it on anyway, like a Paradox or maybe like an Ivy. Ballistic Enchantment now upgrades from Mystic Expansion. Oh, that's cool. Ballistic Enchantment ability range increased from 20 to 22%. That's really interesting. So it's gonna be built off of this has happened in Deadlock a while ago where it would take like a gun item and it would build into a spirit, or a spirit item into a gun. So that's interesting. It's going to be a spirit tier 1 and it's going to build into a tier 2 or tier 3 gun. Weighted shots, dash distance. Okay, accompanying the slowing bullets change. Debuff resistance increased from 20 to 22%. Okay, well, kind of just an adjustment because that weighted shots is good. And it'll still be good. Shadow Weave duration increased. Shadow Weave ambush fire rate increased. The spirit power increased. The melee damage increased. They're really trying to make the Shadow Weave item viable. Maybe it will be now. Some decent stats on it. Or at least on the active. Escalating resilience, max ammo increased, and the weapon damage increased from 15 to 18%. Okay. Already like a decent item on certain characters, but whatever. Radius increased from 30 meters to 35 meters on Heroic Aura. Okay. Oh my goodness, there's so many gun changes. Or Cultist weapon damage increase. Hunter's Aura fire rate reduction increased from minus. I mean, Hunter's Aura is such a sick item. I'm surprised they're buffing it. But I guess like in general, people were complaining about gun items and gun characters, so maybe they're just trying to buff like a bunch of them. Toxic Bullets no longer builds up for melee attacks. Oh, okay. Not sure if needed. Sharpshooter builds from high velocity now. That's pretty interesting. And it has an innate 10% weapon damage. A little bit more viable then. Crushing Fist is the same thing as the melee charge, 2 seconds off the cooldown, and then also the melee damage increase on that. Okay, Crippling Headshot works versus NPCs, makes sense, and then the bullet reduction and spirit reduction are going up by 1%. Cool. Spiritual Overflow, Spirit Lifesteal moved from active to innate, reduced from 16% to 30%, so it just has flat lifesteal on it now. Nice. And now builds from Spirit Lifesteal. Okay, so another item that's building from green to weapon. Interesting. Max health reduction reduced from minus 15% to minus 13% on Glass Cannon. Okay. Silencer spirit resistance reduced from 15% to 12%. Yes, please. Can we keep nerfing this item? Such a cringe item, Silencer is. I'd rather have any other of these items be more viable. Spell Slinger cooldown reduction reduced from 6 to 5%. Another really meta gun item. They're just adjusting it a little bit. Okay. Holy, there's actually so much. Now for green items. Bunch of green item changes. Healing Right, Spirit Scaling increased. Extra regen reduced from 3 to 2.5. Extra regen just been bought on like every game, but they're nerfing a little bit. But they're increasing the out of combat regen to compensate. Okay, kind of makes sense because it kind of nerfed the combat part of how good extra regen is for fighting and everything in lane. Rebuttal parry cooldown reduced from minus 2 seconds to minus 1.75. Okay, Debuff reducer now gives 90 health. Return fire duration increased from 6 to... Why are they buffing return fire? Another, like, perfectly fine meta item. Interesting. Healing booster fixed various abilities and items not being boosted correctly. Like one of these, like, hidden things that people don't test, and then all of a sudden it's like, maybe the item's a lot better because it wasn't working on a bunch of things that people didn't realize before. Resto Locket no longer has a minimum of 1 stamina restore. And max stamina restore reduced from 4 to 3. I think this is kind of being bought less and less now. And so it's like kind of like a late nerf. But it's okay. Reactive Barrier now grants +1 out of combat regen from components. Okay. Spirit Shielding no longer grants 1.75 movement speed on activation. Spirit Shielding proc now also temporarily grants 18% spirit resistance for the 8-second duration. Damn, that's pretty good. Same thing with the weapon shielding. It's now going to be 18% bullet resistance. Crazy. That's actually pretty good. And it's building from that tier 1 shield item that might be viable. Guardian Ward Barrier increased from 200 to 250, and the cooldown increased from 45 to 60 seconds. Now grants 1.5 out of combat regen from the components. Okay. Bullet Lifesteal grants 6% weapon damage. Ooh, that's pretty good. Battle Vest weapon damage increased from 15 to 18%. Dispel Magic cooldown increased by 5 seconds. Spirit Lifesteal bonus health from 70 to 90. Fury Trance active duration increased from 6 to 6.5. Gain 6% weapon damage from Fury Trance as well. Fire rate increased from 30 to 32%. Okay. Majestic Leap now grants 50% air control for the duration of the barrier. Oh, wait, you get some air control with Majestic Leap now. Buff to Majestic Leap because, you know, not really a viable item these days. And the barrier boon scaling increased. Okay. Fortitude movement speed increased from 1.25 to 1.5. Okay. Walker heal per boon increased. Okay. Invisibility duration increased as well. Counterspell Spirit Power reduced from 8 to 5. So Counterspell nerf. Divine Barrier grants 1.5. Okay, from the components. Don't really care. Fire rate reduction on Juggernaut increased. And the movement speed bonus increased. Okay. Spellbreaker now grants 90 health. Indomitable Barrier increased. And out of combat regen. And up to 10% resist on each side. So buff to Indomitable. A little bit more viable because it's just giving you 10% resist on each side now. Okay. Witchmail buff and the spirit resistance. Cooldown on Unstoppable reduced by 5 seconds. Infuser duration increased from 6 to 7. Oh, 6, 7. Infuser gains +6 spirit power. Just from the components, it's just flat now. Leech updated bonus HP to match the components, and also Vampiric Burst gets the 8% weapon power. My goodness. My goodness. Okay, not as many spirit changes it looks like, though. Spirit items. Okay. Sorry. Starting off with the Golden Goose Egg, of course. We have to buff this. Permanent buff from every 100 souls to every 80. So you get more buffs now from Goose Egg. Interesting. Mystic Regen duration increased from 6 to 7 on the regen. Rusted Barrel bonus health increased from 50 to 60. I think Rusted Barrel is a super underrated item, so buff to it's only going to make it better. Cold Front radius reduced from 12 meters to 10 meters. Damage height increased from 5 to 7, so you can actually hit people above and below you a little bit better, but not as far away if you're like on the same level. Bullet Resist Shredder no longer grants 65 bonus health. Bullet Resist increased from 8 to 9. Now grants 9% weapon damage. Ooh, Bullet Resist gives you 9% weapon damage. Okay. Some like weapon damage on like some other utility items in the spirit and green categories. So some buffs for sure for gun characters. Mystic Flow bonus health increased. Arcane Surge fixed various interaction bugs. Yeah, I saw like a post about like Arcane Surge not working on like so many abilities in the game. So hopefully it fixed most of these. Surge of Power, Imbued Spirit Power increased from 24 to 25. Okay. Spirit Snatch bonus damage, Spirit Scaling increased, and Spirit Power Steal increased. Dang, Spirit Snatch is back, baby. It's back on the freaking chopping block. Decay cooldown reduced from 32 to 30 seconds, so 2 seconds off that. Probably not that meaningful. Storming Hex duration increased by 0.25. Probably not that meaningful as well. I'm still gonna buy it in the scenarios where you'd want to buy it for the characters, but Torrent Pulse melee resistance increased from 15 to 18%. Okay, Radiant Regen duration increased from 6 to 7 seconds. It's going to keep healing a little bit more with both Mystic Regen and Radiant Regen. Rapid Recharge, Spirit Power for charge abilities increased from 10 to 14. Okay. They're buffed to Spirit, or to Rapid Recharge, by the way. Remember that guy in our Hot Takes video said Rapid Recharge needs to be reworked, and they're buffing it. Obviously, I didn't agree with that person, but Magic Carpet now innately grants minus 15% gravity and air control by 25%. Oh my god, that's interesting. Everybody becoming Celeste now. Or I guess Ivy, because it's like a lower number. Arctic Blast. Slow targets now have their stamina regen frozen for the 4-second slow duration. Oh my goodness, that's an insane change. This item is insane now. Radius increased on it from 12 meters to 16, and then the height increased from 5 to 7. No longer does 15% damage amp. Immobilize increased from 0.75 to 1 seconds. Duration increased from 4 seconds to 4.5. Okay. Oh, wait, that's for focus lens. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Wait, that's insane. That's an insane change. That is broken. I feel like everyone's going to be going Arctic Blast now. This is just, I mean, I think they're probably doing something like this to try and like incentivize like the fact, or try and help with the fact that people are saying there's like too much movement, everybody running away. So this can help a lot with keep like locking people down. But that seems a bit much. I mean, this seems a bit much. Focus lens duration increased by 0.5 seconds. Okay. Scourge debuff resist increased from 15 to 17. Okay. Another buff for Scourge because it's still not like that meta, although I think for sure underrated already. Merc Mag base bolt damage spirit increased from 0.465 to 0.49, so a buff to Merc Mag. Probably not needed again, but some overall buffs to gun characters and builds. Vortex Web fixed the debuff losing gravity modification when upgraded from Soling X. Okay, cool. Okay, and those are all the item changes. Quite a bit, a lot of like small changes here and there, but definitely some things that could shake up the meta, like the barrier items. Definitely Arctic Blast seems ridiculous. Seems like gun characters in general got a lot better with all these changes. A lot of it's going to add up. Like if you build a lot of these items, like Bullet Resist Shredder, Bullet Lifesteal, that's already like what 50% extra weapon damage on 2 utility items. So stuff like that, it adds up quickly. Anyway, so those were the item changes. Now we're moving on to the hero changes. Hopefully some spicy stuff in here. I'm trying to read everything while also like breezing over the things that's not that important or like not too crazy. So bear with me. But Abrams, his tier 1 on his 3 changed from 1.5 health regen to 200 max health. Oh, wow. So if you just put 1 point into it, it'll give you 200 HP now. That's kind of nice. And the tier 2 is now 18% melee lifesteal. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Interesting. Seismic Impact tier 2 increased stun duration by 0.1 seconds. And the tier 3 unstoppable from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. Okay, this is very interesting because you never really you don't really level Abrams 3, but maybe you might now. Like, probably not, but maybe. You never know. 200 HP and then 18% melee lifesteal. That's kind of nice. Maybe Fritz. Maybe. Apollo improved the hero's hitboxes, easier to hit. Okay, that's funny. Does that like was he not getting hit in scenarios where he should have been? His base regen is reduced. Riposte no longer automatically dashes. It now grants you a sub ability immediately to target the hero you want to jump to for a brief. Oh, this is a rework, so you can't just run away with it now. You have to target an enemy to go to him. Target the enemy before the parry to buffer it. That is very interesting. Is it like a Shiv like pre-rework ult? Where you just lock onto them and you jump toward them? That's very interesting. This is a huge change, by the way. He's not just got a get out of jail free card now. Riposte no longer triggers on damage auras, like things like Flame Dash, okay. Riposte no longer triggers off of objective damage, okay. Plus advanced hitbox reduced by 10%, so the 3, you could just get hit around corners and like through walls and all this bullshit, so made it not do that as often, seems like. But yeah, this is a huge change. I think this might make Apollo not that great, honestly. He might just be dead, because his 2 was really what made him broken. Like you could not punish the character, but it seems like you very much can now. Bebop bullet damage per boon reduced. Okay, well, Bebop's probably going to get taken out back like old Yeller. Exploding uppercut tier 2 weapon damage reduced from 40 to 30%. Sticky bomb tier 2 increased from 7. Okay, so a little bit of buff to his bomb. Dude, there's always a buff to bomb in every single Deadlock patch. A buff or a nerf, rather. Like, just some changes. But yeah, it seems like Gun Bebop may be not viable. Definitely less viable. 10% is huge, and then the boon as well. That's pretty crazy. Billy health per boon increased from 48 to 59. Some Billy buffs because he hasn't been meta for a little bit. Bullet damage per boon reduced, but Rising Ram cooldown increased. Okay, Rising Ram tier 2 increased from 0.3 to 0.4. And then the cooldown on the tier 3 is up to 13 seconds since they nerfed the base duration. So putting points into it is a little bit more beneficial now, but I don't know. That's probably not that meaningful, honestly, especially because he got less bullet damage. Oh my god, I see Dortmund down there, but let's get to him first. Gloom bomb tier 2 changed from plus 75 damage to berries to minus 5 melee resist for 5 seconds per bomb. Oh, so like you can throw your bombs on him and just melee him to death. Okay, interesting. Kind of incentivize her playstyle a bit. Celeste improved the hero's hitboxes, easier to hit. Okay, again with Apollo, like same thing with Apollo. Stamina cooldown increased from 4.5 to 5 seconds. Radiant Daggers tier 2 changed from minus 18 second cooldown in 70 damage to minus 22 second cooldown in plus 80 damage. Interesting. Shining Wonder tier 2 increased from 50 damage to 70. So like adjustments, but honestly a couple like buffs really. Like obviously like buffs. That's pretty crazy. I don't know if she really needed buffs, but I guess slight adjustment too because they nerfed her cooldown. Okay, Doorman. Call bell radius reduced from 6 meters to 5.5. Call bell tier 3 radius increased from 4 meters to 4.5. Okay. Interesting because you could max this anyway, but whatever. Maybe just less lane poke because of it. Call bell explosion damage spirit scaling reduced from 1.4 to 1.3. Okay, less damage on this for spirit scaling. Call bell inaccuracy debuff no longer diminishes from 100 to 0 seconds over 1 second. The rest of the debuff is 4 seconds. Huh? Inaccuracy debuff reduced from 100 to 40% less. Okay, so now it just lasts the full duration. It's not 100 to 0. It's just 40% for 4 seconds. Okay, I mean, kind of annoying, but whatever. Doorway's closed sub ability now starts on cooldown for 8 seconds. Oh. Wow, so you have to wait 8 seconds before you close it. So you put the door down and you go through it. They can still follow you through it a little bit easier now because you can't close it right away. Interesting. Doorway is no longer unsilenceable. Huh? Doorway is no longer, like the actual ability? Was that actually not silenceable? What the heck? Fix recent bug causing luggage cart not being dispelled. Okay. I mean, some pretty good nerfs, honestly. Some pretty good nerfs. I think he might still be viable, but this is a huge change. The fact that he can close it for 8 seconds. You can't just pop open the door and get out of jail for free. Okay, Drifter Ren Tier 3 no longer increases scaling by 0.4. It now also deals heavy melee damage. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Makes sense. I feel like kind of like it's very similar to other abilities that already had that, so. Dynamo Kinetic Pulse Tier 2 reduced from 18% bolt resistance or minus 18 to minus 15. Kinetic Pulse Spirit Scaling reduced. Okay, that's his 1, of course, guys. Quantum Entanglement Tier 3 changed from dispelling non-ult debuffs to reducing the duration of non-ult debuffs by 50%. Ooh, these are huge nerfs to Dynamo. These are actually huge nerfs, not gonna lie. This character was already kind of falling out of the meta a bit, so I think this hurts him even more. Probably won't be. The fact that it doesn't cleanse the non-ult debuffs is huge. Like, that's a huge nerf. I mean, it's still 50%, but like, man. Graves sprint speed increase. Uh-oh, a lot of Graves changes. Grasping Hands now spawns a ghoul in the base ability. Tier 3 still increases by 1. Oh my god. So you can spawn ghouls from the beginning of the game if you just level your 2. Updated dash ranges for deadheads to be calculated from the center of Graves when they are following her. Okay, fixed fire rate buffs for deadheads not being applied to their next attack, but only on subsequent attacks. Okay, fixed deadheads being unable to dash through veils. Okay, deadheads being unable to dash through targets at the very end of your attack range when they're in follow mode. Just a bunch of deadhead like fucking bug fixes. Okay, added 0.1 second buffer duration for deadheads losing line of sight before they stop following an enemy. Fixed deadheads becoming inactive if Graves dies. Okay, just a bunch of like making deadheads a lot better just through a bunch of bug fixes. Jar of Dead spirit scaling reduced. They're better at dealing damage now. Okay. So they're a lot better because of all these bug fixes, so they're reducing the spirit scaling by a little bit. Increased speed and acceleration of deadheads only when they are falling Graves. Doesn't affect in combat. Fix certain projectiles. Great Talon's Bird colliding with deadheads. Updated Graves melee to also set the dash target for deadhead. Dude, there's like 18 deadhead changes here. And honestly, they're probably all really good for her, but it's hard to like measure like based on this wording, this verbiage, like what exactly it will do. But bullet damage and growth reduced by 10% for Graves. So a bit of adjustments, but it seems like they think all of these changes are going to make her a lot better because they're already like making preemptive nerfs as well. Okay. Up next, Great Talon. Rain of Arrows cooldown reduced from 30 to 22 seconds. Rain of Arrows castaway reduced from 0.5 to 0.2. Rain of Arrows duration increase or reduced from 7 seconds to 4 seconds. Oh, wow. Moving ability in air improved on Rain of Arrows. Okay. Rain of Arrows stamina and distance changed from being minus 9% to plus 25%. Rain of Arrows weapon damage bonus reduced from plus 4 to plus 3. And the tier 1 changed from minus 14 second cooldown to plus 3 weapon damage and 30% slow for 1.5 seconds. Oh my god. These are literally just changes to Talons 2. All 8 of these or whatever this is. And the tier 2 changed from plus 5 weapon damage and 40% slow to minus 30. Okay, so they just swapped these around a little bit and nerfed the weapon damage and slow by a little bit. So, interesting. I hate this character, so I don't know. Maybe my Talon players are excited about this change, but seems like it's more being used more for the movement and not just like being a character that sits in the sky and hits people. Haze Fixation Tier 3 increased from 0.12 to 0.14. Okay. All right. Sure. Holiday base bullet damage increased. Ooh, gun holiday back on the main menu, guys, bullies. And then the health regen increased from 1 to 2 for holiday, which is interesting because she's already a really good early game character. So the fact that she's getting more health regen probably unnecessary, but maybe it kind of like pushes more in that playstyle, into that playstyle. And furnace bullet size increased from 3 to 4. Oh, okay. Concussive combustion tier 3 increased from 0.75 second stun to 0.9. Okay. Does that guarantee a heavy melee? I mean, probably not. Actually, yeah, it does, right? I don't know. I don't fucking remember. Frost grenade on Kelvin. Damage spirit scaling reduced from 0.7 to 0.6. Okay, spirit Kelvin dead. Just kidding. Maybe not dead, but those nades are nuking people. Kelvin, when interrupted on ice path, it no longer creates an ice path below him and instead lets him fall to the ground. Oh my god. Holy, that's actually insane. Holy, if you knock down Kelvin in his 2 now, he actually falls to the ground. Arctic beam DPS spirit scaling reduced from 0.5 to 0.3. Again, like seems like spirit Kelvin a lot worse now. The beam as well would hit really hard, so scaling reduced on it is pretty crazy. Flash bullet damage per boon reduced. Okay, nerfing gun lash makes sense. Ground strike damage per meter spirit scaling increased from 0.0372. What a weird number to 0.04. Now it's round. Let's go. Grapple tier 2 bonus damage no longer stacked with itself, but instead refreshes duration. Okay. Grapple tier 3 now also grants +1 charge. Okay. Yeah, so definitely trying to curb the gun lash playstyle a little bit and buff the spirit the spirit playstyle a bit. Cool. Maybe we'll actually be able to one-shot people with lash 1 again. McGinnis bullet damage per boon increased. Fixed heavy barrage not triggering divine Kevlar. Okay. Medicinal scepter radius increased from 5.5 to 6 meters. Okay, just a few McGinnis buffs. Probably not gonna affect the meta that much, but hey. Mina, innate minus 8% debuff resist. What? Okay. Fixed rake sometimes not working with high ping. Okay. Love bites tier 3 increased from -4 seconds cooldown to -5 second cooldown. Love bites no longer applies the flat on hit damage to abilities. Was doing 30% of its value on Nox Nostra. Okay. Nox Nostra tier 3 reduced from 1% current HP to 0.5%. Wait, I'm kind of confused what this means. Love Bites no longer applies the flat on-hit damage to abilities. Was doing 20% of its value on Nox Nostra. I mean, it's a nerf, obviously, but I don't exactly understand what that means, but okay. It's funny, it's kind of weird that she just has an innate -8% debuff resist. But cool. I mean, we definitely welcome some Mina nerfs. It was full procking Love Bites? Oh, okay. Okay. So it's going to do less now. Mirage updated Jin's Mark visuals. Okay, no Mirage changes, really? Okay. Mo and Krill getting hit with a melee no longer knocks you up when you are burrowed. What? It would knock him up when he got hit with a melee? I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen this, and I always melee Mo when he's underground. If it was a bug fix, it would say like fixed, but it seems like they were saying that it always did this. It no longer knocks you up when you're burrowed. Palmer's saying it's a big fix, really? Hey, maybe it's just because I'm not a huge Mo player. Maybe it's much more noticeable like when you're playing Mo a lot, I guess. Sandblast tier 3 increased from 1 second to 1.5. Okay. Bookworm tier 2 on page improved from -8 second cooldown to -12. Rallying charge tier 3 increased to 160 damage instead of 135, and now has half cooldown if it hits no allies or enemies. Wait, so you can throw it across the map, and if it doesn't hit anybody, you'll get half its cooldown. You won't get punished as hard. That's funny. Incentivize that like cross map page ult playstyle, which I think is cool. So why not? Why not? Oh, true. They did nerf. Okay, they did nerf fire scarabs and inhibitor stacking, so that's actually a huge Mirage nerf for the late game, at least. So that's good. That is definitely a good change for him. Still surprised, like especially like the Echo Shard quadruple tornado, like that just can't be a healthy thing for the game. I mean, it's fun and it's silly, but surely it won't last very long. Being able to quadruple tornado and be immune the entire time and keep somebody knocked up in the air the entire time. Paradox time wall tier 1 duration increased from 2.5 to 3.5. Okay. while tier 3 increased from 1 to 2 charge, while tier 3 charge delayed reduced from 40. I don't even know, like, in my opinion, like, the fact that this is even a charge ability is weird. I just don't think it fits. But they seem to want it to be, so. Kinetic Carbine tier 3 increased from 50% max damage scaling to 55%. Paradoxical Swap damage increased from 125 to 150. Okay, actually quite a few Paradox buffs. Who, again, was kind of already, like, creeping up in the meta, but whatever. Pocket Flying Cloak tier 2 weapon damage duration reduced from 8 seconds to 6, and Affliction cooldown increased from 140 to 150. I'm surprised these are the only pocket changes. The issue with this character is that he has permanent uptime on his suitcase and can be everywhere not everywhere on the map, but he can farm waves with no threat whatsoever because he can TP across the map, because he can throw his cloak across the map before he even hits the wave, and you can do this nonstop because without cooldown there's like a 3-second downtime on it, but with cooldown there's a like 0-second downtime on it. So yeah, that's kind of surprising. Oh my god, that is a lot of rem changes. Jesus. Pillow Toss charge time reduced from 9 to 8. Increase the damage as well by 10. Burst heal now also applies to secondary allies that you jump to. Okay. Tag along lingering heal duration reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. Values rebound to be same overall heal, just faster. Okay, so more of a burst heal instead of over time. Tier 2 barrier and item duration on tag along effectiveness increased from 25 to 35%. Tag along tier 3 now also increases missing health heal from 0.03 to 0.05 and regen per second from 0.66 to 1.0. My goodness. Tag along can now be cast through veils. Reduce lockout period after projecting from tag along from 1 to 0.3. Tag along time to fly to your ally is now 50% faster. Tag along heal duration is now displayed on the HUD as well as the help bar icon. Tag along fixed abilities that could kill Rem while he's napping. Tag along now allows friendly auras to affect Rem. Tag along eject is no longer affected by debuff resistance and now launches upward slightly more to prevent hitting the ground. Tag along eject no longer previously. Okay. Nap time now provides 30% weapon damage reduction in the base ability, so you can't just like one shot him while he goes into the ult. I almost said tag along again because I just read it like 100 times. Okay, so just a bunch of like improvements, buffs to tag along. Also like the post, like the, what is it called? The post fire like animation lock and stuff like that on it improved. Okay, 7 bullet damage growth reduced and crit reduction increased from 35% to 55%. Okay. Okay. Because he doesn't have a head, right? He's like it's like a fucking coil. Is that why? Anyway, Shiv slice and dice tier 2 reduced from -8% spear resist to -6. Okay, that's a good change. As a Shiv lover and a Shiv player, bloodletting deferred damage to cleared reduced from 40% to 35. Bloodletting tier 3 increased from 45% to 50%. Okay, so you incentivize actually leveling the ability now. Killing blow cooldown increased from 105 to 125. I guess get punished more for actually using it to run away, because it'll be on a longer cooldown. Cool. Killing blow full rage damage bonus reduced from 14 to 12%. Okay. Tier 2 increased from 8% full rage bonus to 10%. Okay. Killing blow tier 2 now also reduces cooldown by 30 seconds. Okay, so you actually incentivize the level of the ability if you want it to be more useful. Okay, that's fair. Shiv's still very, very good. I don't think this will actually affect him that much. Silver, bullet cycle time reduced from 0.9 to 0.85. Overall DPS adjusted remain the same. Okay, this is nice quality of life. Tingling Bola no longer prevents you from jumping and mantling. That is a huge nerf. That is a huge nerf to the ability. Tingling Bola tier 2 changed from 0.75 second duration to -5 second cooldown. Tingling Bola tier 3 changed from minus... Okay, so just swap these. They always do this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it still ricochets and goes to other targets. Okay. Silver Lycan Curse fire rate reduced from 80% to 65%, and the fire rate spear scaling is increased. Oh, okay. So incentivizing building a little bit more spirit on silver, which I kind of already doing I was already doing a little bit, but to get that like fire rate on your Lycan Curse, your transformation, you can build some spirit for it. Or, you already could, but build a little bit more. Nice. I like it though. I like when like characters have like different ways to scale based off of like you know, spirit. Of course, like an ability can scale damage wise off of spirit, but if the fire rate is increased, or like my mag size is increased by spirit, or like, you know, or like the duration of certain abilities, stuff like that, I think it's super cool. Venator health increased. Okay, I feel like this character is already really tanky. I'm surprised they did that. They just increased his health, his base health plus health per boon. Hexline Snap tier 3. Hexline Snap Trap tier 3 increased from 25% damage against revealed targets to 30%, and also grants +1 charge. Okay. Okay. Just some buffs to the trap. Victor, here we go. Wall breaker finally nerfed. Bullet damage reduced from 13 plus 0.31, whatever, to 12 plus 0.26. Okay, there's a pretty big base damage nerf on his bullets. Jumpstart tier 3 spirit scaling increased, and then Aura of Suffering now does 50% damage to objectives. Okay. Huh. I mean, they hit both of the things that would probably like be destroying the walkers, but I don't think this actually destroys it. Like, so if it was like absolutely broken before, it's probably just broken now, because I still think his gun's probably still going to hit really hard. And I don't really personally think the aura was that important towards it. It was mostly the gun damage. But hey, whatever. It seems like it will. It would still probably be a thing, especially because his ult cooldown is still going to be very low once you get it maxed. And also, don't forget that your ult does spirit damage when it's on cooldown, which isn't affected here. So, because your fire rate's still going to be really, really high, so you're still going to be proccing the spirit damage on your ult nonstop. Okay, Viscous Puddle Punch tier 1 now also increases damage by plus 20. Puddle Punch tier 2 no longer increases damage by plus 30. Puddle Punch tier 2 now also grants 40% lifesteal, 1/4 against non-heroes. Oh, okay. Pretty cool, I guess. Probably not that important, but Viper Screw Jab Dagger tier 2 bullet resist per stack. Oh, they didn't say like increase or anything. It just says per stack from, okay. 50% to -6%, so that's a buff. And tier 3 now also increases max stacks by 2. So there are some buffs to Spirit. Or I guess kind of like it's reducing their bullet resist, so it kind of incentivizes the gun build regardless, but just some buffs to Viper. Warden, bullet damage per boon reduced from 0.38 to 0.34. Willpower tier 3 debuff resistance now retroactively applies to existing debuffs when cast. Okay. Binding Ward tier 2 no longer increases cast range by 12 meters. Okay, that's cool. Some nice nerfs. What's up, Sane? Some nice nerfs to Warden, although this is a slight buff in the fact that you can kind of retroactively not cleanse, but affect, I guess, some debuffs that are already on you. And last but not least, we have Yamato. Power Slash post cast time reduced from 0.4 to 0.2. Oh my god, if they're making this character feel better, that's actually insane. Power Slash spirit scaling increased as well. Flying Slash range increased from 25 to 30 meters, but the tier 2 no longer grants plus 20 meters. The tier 3 now grants plus 15 meters. So you actually have to max it to get the crazy long range, but at a base range, it's going to be a little bit farther. Okay. That's probably healthier, probably better. Flying Slash tier 3 increase from +1 charge to +2. So now you can have 3 charges of Yamato too if you max it. Interesting. Okay, and Yamato fixed Crimson Slash not being able to hit anything if the player is aimed too high or low. Okay, that's cool. So now you can like aim it at the ground and it'll still hit, or hopefully hit more often. And then Shadow Transformation tier 1 increased from +5 weapon damage to +7. Okay, some pretty good Yamato buffs, honestly. It actually helps a lot. I kind of want to see like how this feels, and a few of these things feel. And then Street Brawl, okay, whatever, that doesn't matter. I don't care. Okay, anyway, that was a long patch, a lot of balance stuff. Nothing like insanely crazy, I would say, at least as far as like hero changes. Definitely some interesting things. Want to see how like Graves feels now with the Deadheads, and maybe how like Talon feels with the 2, although I won't see that because I don't really like that character, but maybe one day. But definitely the urn change is probably the biggest thing in this patch. How the urns work now, and a bit of like the towers, how they work now. I guess maybe these investment bonuses are pretty big as well. The mid boss spawning at the start of the game. I wonder if we'll see like a 5-minute mid boss ever. That'd be kind of funny. But anyway, pretty W patch. I like a lot of the changes. I think some stuff wasn't addressed correctly. Like I think Pocket's still gonna be really, really good, which is fine. Like they have that meta for a while, so that's fine. But I think Wall Break Victor is still gonna be good. What else? Shiv is still probably gonna be good, but it's gonna maybe mix up the meta a little bit. But yeah, regardless, pretty cool patch. Definitely gonna try out a lot of these changes, see how they feel, and go from there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you liked or didn't like in this patch, like specifically what you thought was good and what you thought was bad. But yeah, stay safe and healthy as always. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.